Inspiring person in 2010 is going to be Jim Halbeisen. I hadn't seen Jim for about a year, and what caught my attention was not Jim's new shoes. What really caught my attention was that his new shoes were on a brand new set of legs.
Back to normal life. Just everything normal, things he wants to do, enjoys doing. You adapt, we've adapted, and he's able to do almost anything.
Your perspective, is that what it's been? It's just he just wanted to get back to that normal life? I mean, as Jim says, he has all these little bumps in the road, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's just getting back to that normal life. Inspiring person for 2010. Actually, this whole story goes back 10 years. So if we can kind of break the conversation down into maybe three parts. Maybe we'll talk about 10%, we'll talk about 5%, and then we'll talk about the tandem bike that the Village Dirtbags got for your family so you can get out biking again. So 10 years ago, you were diagnosed with cancer, and at that time, they gave you a 10% chance of living. So what was that all about?
In 2001, I was diagnosed with called myelofibrosis. It's a form of leukemia, which required me to, I had to get a bone marrow transplant or I wasn't going to be here. So.
As he could, he was working still, he worked to the end. He didn't stop working until he went down for his surgeries, and he's so positive and strong in his head. It made me stronger. It really made me stronger. To support him, we're going to find if there is a cure, a treatment for this.
The way I found out about my leukemia was actually on mountain bike rides, because I was riding and I noticed my energy level was just going down, and I was just sweating.
10 years ago, you go through this whole process. They give you a 10% chance of living. You beat it all. Last summer, you tell a story there where it comes down, you thought your chances were not great when it was only a 10% chance, and then going through this next process, you found you only had a 5% chance of living.
Yeah.
ICU, and they were questioning, they came out with the infectious disease doctor, and he said he's strong and he's healthy and he's in painting, but he wore a mask, and we said, but he had a bone marrow, a spleen, and he says, no, and he says, oh, we know what it is, and the spleen is a filter, and he's got this infection in his bloodstream, not being filtered, and he's in shock and it's shutting down. They proceeded, they had a protocol that they would take care of within just an hour or so. They got it down and they tried it on him because no one had ever survived what he'd been through at Cottage Hospital.
Impacted the fact that you lost your legs below the knee and then basically about 3 of each hand. So what went on there for them to have to?
What happened was when, as I mentioned, my blood pressure was in the 40s. For them to bring my blood pressure up very quickly because I was about to pass, they had to give me extreme medication for that, which the body reacts. Unfortunately, part of the reactions are that it could throw clots, blood clots, and it throws blood clots to the extremities. So what it did, it threw blood clots to my feet and my hands, and basically stopped the same process as frostbite.
Like frostbite, yeah.
And it was my ears. Luckily, my ears were all blue, but they all came back, and my nose was all one big scab of. They didn't expect to save my nose, and as you see, it's all back. It's a little bit funny looking, but it's all good. I'm just happy to have it. And unfortunately, I lost my fingers on my right hand. I still have my palm, and I thank goodness for that every day. And I lost my left.
You can still work on the rental for your daughter.
I can still.
And you can't put that happiness in his head, his body, and just seeing that he experienced what he wants to do, what he loves to do, and that's what it's about, getting back out there. I try not to worry. I try really, I think, okay, he's just going to go out there and do and be careful, and he hasn't fallen. He has not fallen. Just very careful. He knows his limits, and Marissa, fortunately, is very strong. I'm not strong enough to be the front rider yet.
The plaque said, just a bump in the road. And that's been your kind of mantra through this whole thing. You know, first you had the 10% bump in the road, then you had the 5% bump in the road. But, you know, look at and you're trying to be inspiration to the vets who come back that might have disabilities.
Yes, that's what I try to do.
Yours has obviously been inspiring to so many people. I know that you, for the Santa Barbara Rehab, I believe you've done a video for them that they played at their conferences to inspire people. You talk about the nurses and the doctors, how inspiring you were to them. And I know with the Village Dirtbags, that's when we saw you and then found out your story. That was all it took for us to want to get the tandem bike for you and at least show some appreciation for what you're doing for everyone else. So.